So in today's video, we are going to be talking about my recommendation on how to fit every essential piece of camera gear into a small carry-on travel backpack that is lightweight, easy on your back, and most importantly, gives you all of the creative options you need to capture epic photos on your next trip. And so everything that I brought along with me that I'm going to show you in this video fit into this bag on this trip. And we're gonna break down that equipment now to show you what you need to bring. So let's jump on into it. So welcome to the channel. My name is Brock Wonder, and on this channel, we talk about how to live a more creative life that's both good for you and the planet. And of course, there's a lot of street photography and overall photography involved on this channel. And recently I took a trip to Scotland, which has been an absolute bucket list destination of mine for the last 4 years. Finally being able to go and get photos of Old Man of Storr, Castle Stalker, Eileen Donan, and a whole bunch of other epic locations, if I'm being quite honest, was probably one of the best things that's happened in the last few years. So I am very excited to share those photos with you. Now, the number one thing is that the airports and airplanes are an absolute disaster right now, and all of us need to be conscious about what we bring on a plane, because obviously carry-on is the way to go to ensure you're gonna get everything at your final destination, and not that you're gonna end up losing all your luggage by checking your bag. So this is the backpack that I took with me. It is the 20-liter everyday backpack by Peak Design, and normally my backpack is the Peter McKinnon Nomadic Collaboration camera bag. Now on this trip, I didn't want to check a bag, but shockingly, it is just as big as my fully loaded duffel bag. Now, the problem with this is that you can't bring this bag and a fully loaded duffel bag onto a plane and have both basically be carry-on. You need to have one smaller bag in some sort of way. I then had to resort to figuring out how I was going to fit basically the same amount of gear in a small bag, or at the very least, the same amount of creative options into a smaller bag without needing to schlep it all along. And I can confidently say I successfully did that. And so everything that I brought along with me that I'm going to show you in this video fit into this bag on this trip. So first things first, obviously it is the camera, and my number one camera that I am using right now is the Sony A1. This video is being filmed with my B cam, which is the Sony A7 IV. And if I am being completely honest, I think majority of people could probably just get a Sony A7 IV. It is equally a monster. That said, this body for landscape photos is unbelievable, especially with the over 50 megapixel sensor. That is huge for me because I do want to print photos from this trip. I was able to get a photo from the Glenfinnan Viaduct. I got a lot of landscape photos of some castles that were just unbelievable to actually see in person after seeing them on Instagram for so long. So I'm very excited to get those printed. I can hopefully finally hang something on this wall behind me because it is a little bit too empty as far as I'm concerned. For this trip, personal trip, the second body didn't fit at the end of the day. That's okay, inevitably. It is what it is. You bring one body and you just make sure that you get what you need to make your trip a success. All right, so second part of this is what is the main lens, the priority lens that you need to bring on your trip. And for me, that is a 24-70 f2.8. This lens I use 60-70% of the time. It is everything that you need all in one, and it is the number one lens that I recommend to everybody. And as far as street photography goes in Edinburgh, this thing can grab stunning street photography, and it is my go-to street photography lens. I shoot majority of my street photography on this, and it is the essential lens. The other two lenses that I'll mention in this video can basically not need to come as far as I'm concerned if space is really that much of an issue, because you can get 90% of the photos I got on this trip with this one lens. That said, what comes next is the lens that I have the most fun with. This telephoto, a 70-200, this thing is a real unit paired with the A1. There were a couple photos on this trip that I was able to get with this that would have been impossible to capture had I not brought a telephoto. And I was basically debating about bringing, and when I travel, I'm always bringing the 24-70, and I'm always bringing a telephoto. If I had to pick, because I ended up bringing a third lens, I'll just ruin the surprise now. I brought the Holy Trinity, so that was the 24-70, the telephoto, and the wide. If I'm gonna say a lens that doesn't need to come, it's gonna be the wide. Oddly, I know, because it's a landscape trip, but there was also enough that the 24-70 is more important than the wide. And then the telephoto is for those detail shots, those crisp shots that you can't really get. I know some people will bring a wide over a telephoto, I kind of go the opposite. Like, I think you can get some really unique photography with a telephoto, and it's just very exciting to have this thing around, but it is a monster to carry around. And so in the Peak Design bag, this goes right in the middle compartment and basically takes up the entire backpack. Basically, when I was done packing this bag, I was like, can I fit another lens? And that is where my 16-35 f2.8 comes in, because that lens at the end of the day actually ended up being my most valuable lens as far as the unique photo locations went. So then as far as camera accessories go for your one, not two camera bodies, this is the side strap light. I don't have the full side strap, and that is for two reasons. One of them being, I think the big one's actually overkill. It holds the weight of your equipment. Unless you're obviously using like a big telephoto lens, then get the regular strap. For me, I used to road bike a lot, and I would actually strap my camera on my back, and this side strap is smaller, so you can just mount it on your back, keep it tight, and the camera wouldn't shift around. If I would recommend a camera strap, it is this one. Smaller, strong, and really hasn't given me any issues, and it's 2 years old at this point, and honestly looks like it's brand new, and it's quite literally been through the ringer. The second camera strap, this is the number one thing I got the most questions about, and it is my camera wrist strap from Peak Design. You basically just loosen it and then slot your wrist through, and then the weight of the camera tightens it around your wrist, and then you're never gonna lose it. And so for all of my street photography, I bring the wrist strap around. The side strap is literally just for traveling mostly, because it's just, you're walking around way more. And in the city, I have no problem holding this for an hour on my wrist, 2 hours on my wrist. Good luck 12 hours with this on your wrist, holding it the entire time. You're gonna need the camera strap. So that's why I brought both. Both of them don't really take up too much space. The big strap itself slots into the side of the bag, and you're pretty much good to go from there. The next thing I brought is the DJI OM5 gimbal. Now, Instagram Reels has obviously taken over the planet, and personally I have an iPhone 13. Majority of the iPhone 13 footage actually comes out like very, very, very stable when you do it handheld. But there are some large sweeping movements that I've done when you need to walk, you need to go up a hill, you need to go upstairs. And this thing, it's honestly so compact, and it just puts your phone right on the top, slots into your backpack. It's like $100, and you're basically good to go with a gimbal on the iPhone 13 Pro camera. Is unbelievable. So highly recommend you get one of these. It will really up like your production value on your phone footage, and it folds up super nice, and then you just slot it right back into your bag and you're good to go. All right, so the next part is, how do I keep everything organized in my backpack if I don't have any compartments to actually slot things in? And that is with this Air Canada case. Not sponsored, but literally everything goes right in here, from my Sony battery pack chargers to my lens cleaning kits to my cleaning cloths to the brush to scrape like dust particles off the lens nicely. Like, everything basically goes in this bag, and whenever I need it, I just pop it right out. It goes in the bottom rung of my backpack, and you're basically all set to get what you need done. Invest in pouches. Don't let your equipment like roam freely in your backpacks. That's how you lose things and end up spending more money than you should replacing it. I've been there. We've all been there. Just take my advice and don't go there too. And the final thing is, how many batteries do I actually bring when I travel? And the answer is 6. I keep all 6 in this Peak Design little pouch. This was actually meant for like what the wrist strap came in, and instead I just put my little Sony batteries in here. So yeah, that's basically the strategy. Keep them all together, keep them all organized. You know what's charged, you know what's not charged. And 6, honestly, throughout the day, it's kind of hit or miss depending on how much photography you're actually gonna do. So when you're traveling, 6 batteries, I'd say, is a good place to start. You bring your battery pack charger with you, charge them overnight, and you'll never run out during the day, or at least I haven't yet. Maybe I'm not shooting as much as you, but 6 batteries is definitely more than enough in my opinion. So all said and done, it's gonna look something like this. At the top, you basically have your 2 lenses, your wide and your 24-70, plus your main camera body just in the top. Middle of the bag, at the top, you've got the lens cleaning pouch. So this has everything in there that's like those random accessories. Then of course you have the telephoto, which like I mentioned, basically takes up the entire middle rung of this bag. And then the gimbal bag is just off to the side. And then in the bottom, I put the miscellaneous items. So this might go on the side of my bag. And then I have the battery packs that fit into the pouch at the very bottom. And then I will lay the camera bag when I'm traveling on its back and try to keep my laptop out of there as much as I possibly can. And the final thing that's being currently used is obviously my tripod from Manfrotto. It is not the travel tripod, it is the one up. I got it literally like 3 years ago and it is an absolute machine. I've replaced the head on it now once. I replaced the base plate 3 times. So it is a different head than actually what the tripod came with. So it's a little bit more sturdy, stronger, and more accurate when I'm actually like dialing it into the positioning that I want. Good news is though, it is just big enough to fit right into the side pocket, put it into the bag, bring it on the plane, and nobody basically said anything. I took the entire camera bag with weighing probably more than it should have, but all compact in this little backpack, and I got the photos that I wanted to. I also will mention that not once did I feel creatively limited on this trip, especially with the A1. If you brought the A7 IV, I also don't think you'd have any issues with basically getting whatever it is that you wanted to get. So with that, I hope you found this video useful. This is the what's in my camera bag like light edition, I'm gonna say, because the real camera bag that I would bring to a actual like professional shoot is significantly bigger than this, but it got the job done. It allowed me to travel Scotland. I was averaging like 30 to 40,000 steps a day, and this bag was on my back. I had everything that I needed, and basically I didn't hurt myself while carrying all of it. So I hope that this video helped you, shared some perspective on what you need to bring on your next trip. If you have any questions, as always, put them down below. I'm happy to answer. And other than that, I will see you all in the next one. Thanks for watching.